I'm surprised we don't have permissions to just post in the CPL cast. Seems like it'd be easy.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I turned on the stream now. I'm just gonna ping the people we're casting. Let me try to remember. Yenta, I think. And then... Shoot. Do you know Neblime's name on the Discord? Is that not Lemon?
Not that's not Lemon, yeah.
Okay.
And he can post the CPL
Oh,
cast.
now he says he can do it. Okay. So I guess he'll do it for us.
That's the hidden tech. Just make sure you're casting someone that can post in the channel.
Yeah, that was a great move, I think. Oh, okay. He didn't say your name, but that's fine. As
Yeah,
long as
no,
they...
he changed it.
Okay, good. Do you want
That's
to...
all good.
Yeah, we could just do some introductions then, I guess, at the start.
Yeah, just let me know when we're going live. Start off and I'll follow your.
All right, I've turned it on, so I'm just going to go over, yeah, that we're doing group 30, and that I'm Royal Blue, I'll be one of the casters.
Yeah, just get us started, and then, like I said, I'll follow your lead.
Okay. Well, do you want to introduce yourself now then? Because I started out the stream.
Okay. Yeah, I guess. Bahram on Discord. I'm Sate0/Bahram because I have multiple names for multiple games because I'm dumb like that.
So is Bahram your name for CPL?
Yes, it is. That's
Okay,
so I'm
good
going
to
to
know.
try to keep it consistent here at least.
Yeah.
I even like it's so ridiculous. Even my like Twitter account is signed up as why do I use different names for everything? I'm really
Yeah.
dumb like.
I imagine your passwords must be even worse then. Oh,
Uh,
here we
no comment.
go. Okay. All right, so let's get into today's matches. Do you know any of these players that are playing?
I don't know who's in the group
Okay,
particularly.
so it's Dragoon, Neblime, sigsaucy, and Yenta.
I know Neblime. He was part of Team Dragon last season, and which I was as well. Pretty good Terran player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I played Neblime last season, and I believe he beat me, so I would say he's good, yeah. And then I don't know much about the other players. I know Yenta, I think, is a Zerg. I think
I,
sigsaucy is a Terran, and Dragoon is a, I'm assuming, Protoss.
I'm pretty sure I've seen the name B Green, so I'm pretty sure I'm the Protoss. That'd be weird to pick a unit from the race you
Yes.
don't play.
Yes. Okay, do you want to just get into the first game then?
Absolutely.
All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and host the game. So it's iRk-1 if you want to join.
Bold move saying the password
Oh
over.
yeah, ball move and sure. Yeah, that's right. Okay, I'm gonna start it before anyone joins. Let me just switch over. Okay, here we go. So it looks like we got Neblime in the top left as the brown Terran, and Dragoon in the bottom left as the white Protoss.
So our guesses were accurate.
Yes, exactly. That's good.
So you're a Terran player, correct?
I am indeed.
How do you feel about this matchup on fighting spirit?
I feel pretty good about it. I think this is actually good positions for Terran because you can take your third easier. It's farther away from the Protoss, and most likely they won't expand to that normal third. They're gonna have to take the bottom one at 6 o'clock. So that will give you, I think, a little bit of area to harass the Protoss early on. So
No value in the Protoss instead of taking the normal third, just moving it to a second main. So secure 4 base.
true, that's a good point. We could see that. That is just so far away, I think, to take your third, but that could happen as well. And so Dragoon is scouting, I think on 9 that scout was, so he's scouting pretty early here.
Yeah, after the pylon, that is definitely early.
So I think we might see a Zealot, but let's see.
Might just be to guarantee he can get up the ramp in time, even if he scouts last position. Looks like Terran's getting that barracks into an early gas, not doing a gas expand. So how early would we see a deviation from the Terran to signal maybe he's going like really aggressive? Like as far as my knowledge goes, they pull guys out of the gas if they're planning for an early expansion after they get enough for the first factory.
Yeah, exactly, that's it. So I think this probe will be around to see that, hopefully, for the Protoss and determine if there is going to be like a two factory build or some kind of early aggression, like you were mentioning.
I mean, this map's so good for just macro games, so I'm not guessing there's going to be a two-fact build, but you never know.
Yeah, I think, is this the close rush position between these two bases here?
Yeah, Terran going towards for us is a pretty close rush distance.
Hmm. So he has taken those guys off the gas, like you mentioned, so it is going to be, I think, a fast expand here.
Yeah, and it looks like the probe did manage to get in, so maybe that's why the early scout, just to make sure no matter what.
Oh, look at this, and he's building a pylon next to the factory, so that's kind of an annoying move by the Protoss to make the factory have to lift off to get the add-on.
Is that worth 100 minerals though?
I don't know, man. I don't think so, but we're gonna find out, I guess. Oh wow, he's getting that probe out of there with 1 HP, so that's pretty lucky for him.
Yeah, seems good. Although the Marine looks like he's
Oh,
gonna find it.
good thing it has shields. Let's see. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, and he left that pylon finish here, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of times they'll
Dragoon
cancel.
moving out with that. Dragoon's moving out with his first Dragoon and doing one gate with a Cyber Core, getting range. I guess gearing up for some kind of tech player, just going for a Nexus. Not like any kind of two gate stuff because he would have already started by now.
Yeah, it looks like he's still mining 3 on gas, which I think some Protoss don't do that when they want to fast expand, but seems like he's got his probe at the natural, and he's got a Dragoon outside the Terran base, so he's going to see any kind of move out.
Yeah, I think this is just going to be the early Nexus and then going into a quick robotics. This is why he's banking all the gas.
Oh,
Because
okay.
robotics does cost 200, kind of
Hmm.
pricey.
Yeah, they're both putting down their expansions now, and the Terran's gonna have to lift his off.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's still safe, and two base on two base favors Terran here, definitely. So I think it's going to be, hopefully, Dragoon realizes what's happening and takes that third when he sees, oh, he's taking the expansion. I should either plan for a big attack or plan for that third base, and we'll see where.
Yeah, it looks like Neblime's going for mines first, and so he might try to do some kind of FD push. He's built up to 5 Marines, so he can be aggressive here. It is going to be a problem with these goons camping the bottom of his ramp. They might be able to kite his Marines as they go down this ramp, but let's see here. They're moving out now.
I mean, that's one of the things I've learned about this against this kind of build. Just having the Dragoons forward, just to slow it down a little bit, force them to deal with the Dragoons microing and taking the free damage. If you can whittle down this attack at all, it doesn't really do nearly as much.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's that yeah, stutter step or moving back micro with the goons. And he's taken out 1 Marine already. Now he's trying to take out this vulture, which he does after it lays a couple mines. But he does lose 1 Dragoon, so now he's retreating back. He's got 1 heavily damaged. And let's see
I
this.
mean, he did see mines though, so he knows it isn't that early siege that can really contain you into your natural and do some damage.
True. And there he is getting the siege mode now, but it's, yeah, like you said, not that early, so he's forced his push back.
So on the pro side, he's going up to 3 gates. He did get the robotics, and he's moving straight into observers. Looks very standard play. So I'm looking for that expansion timing from the Protoss player. But from Terran, we see going up to 3 factories. Does this signal any kind of play in particular? Not investing in more like a 5 or 6 factory.
Yeah, I don't think so. But it's interesting that he hasn't got either an engineering bay or an academy here. So I would say that's kind of risky. Maybe he is going for some more aggression in the early game. And it looks like there is going to be some Reavers, possibly from the Protoss. So that could cause some problems if that engineering bay doesn't get started very soon.
Yeah,
And there he is.
definitely seems like a move towards Reaver attack, getting the support bay and having the shuttle already.
Mhm. Yeah,
Although
that shuttle.
he is getting the observer before the Reaver.
Yeah, and is this shuttle speed he's upgrading to?
It definitely looks like it. Which I love shuttle speed. That enables you to have so many more plays, be able to get in or out, harass a bit.
Hmm.
I am just curious what Dragoon's up to because it doesn't seem like he's posturing to take a third base at all.
Yeah, he has a probe up there at, I guess that's 9 o'clock. But you're right, it doesn't look like he's getting ready to expand at all.
So, yeah, he's not really banking up the money to get it done. So curious to see what he goes for. I think the shuttle speed signals he might want to do some kind of aggression, attack the natural bit, or punish the Terran takes a really early third base. Love the Terran scout here though to see what's going on.
With this vulture, you're saying?
Yeah, like it was moving around, being real careful around the map, and he's
See,
catching that probe
yeah,
moving towards that bottom middle.
that bottom middle is kind of exposed to expand to. He uh, needs to put more units if he's going there. And it looks like here the Terran is pushing out. He's got a pretty sizable army of 5 tanks and some Marines and Vulture support. And so he's
Yeah.
managed to hit a
The
timing
Reaver
here. The
did
Reaver's
just
not out yet, or it has just
it,
been built,
it
but it's not in
just
the
finished.
battle. He's lost, it looks like 3 Dragoons. We'll see with this Reaver if he can make him turn around, though. Ooh, and that
Let's see
mine
what they
gets
got.
him, and a lot of Dragoons falling here. He did take out 1 tank, but all he has left now is that Reaver, basically. Oh, and it's taken some hits, and now the Reaver has fallen.
Yeah, I don't know how Dragoon is going to hold this push if the blind just decides to push in a little further.
Yeah, it's looking like he has almost no units. Now a round of Dragoons has popped out, but yeah, Neblime is in a pretty good position here. He's sieged up right outside the natural.
Yeah, you see Dragoon moving up to extra gateways. He has a lot of bank, not being able to get that expansion when he wanted to. Definitely hindering his build, I think. Not really knowing how to adapt.
Yeah, I agree. Is he building a citadel at this time? Yeah, there's the citadel that's halfway done.
Yeah. I think that's a good move going into Templar a little early to use this giant gas bank he has built up. It'd be
Oh
hard
yeah.
to whittle that down if you don't go into Templar.
Yeah, he's done a good job adding these gateways, but with the number of factories the Terran has, they could have been earlier to help him hold this push. Um, and yeah, maybe some speed zealots, but it looks like he's calling the game now. So there goes our first game. We're gonna have
Yeah.
Neblime winning this one.
Yeah, I think it was just not respecting how strong that push was gonna be. It didn't look like maybe he saw it in the minimap when the push was moving out with his observer, or maybe it wasn't in position.
Yeah, I think he built the Reaver um, first, right? Or no, he built the shuttle first before the observer. So maybe if he had a faster observer, he could have seen that push coming. I don't know.
I mean, he got shuttle straight to observer, so I
Hmm.
would even say that's faster than I was expecting. I was expecting directly into the Reaver to get some pressure going.
Yeah, it's hard to say what would have been better there. It was just a unfortunate timing that the Reaver was not out for that first attack.
Okay. So we got sigsaucy in the top right under the white Terran. We got Neblime in the bottom right on the orange Terran, and I'm gonna go take a nap. I'll see you in like half an hour.
Okay, sounds good. Okay.
This is a matchup I don't particularly watch a lot in the pro scene. I don't know a whole lot about it. The
Uh,
biggest thing I know is that if you can get an econ advantage and get a good position with your tanks, it's so hard to break out of it. But other than that, that's why I think the matchup has a little bit of a bad reputation from the spectator standpoint. It just tends to be a very slow, low action kind of game, other than harassment.
yeah, I would have to agree with you in some regards there. It is a lot about getting that expand or and countering or containing, I mean, your opponent with your siege tanks because they are so powerful in this game, especially in this matchup. So we're gonna look to see who can set up the early tank lines and contain their opponent. But there's also other plays that people can go for, like mass wraiths or dropship plays that can make the game more entertaining or add other elements to the game besides just those massive tank lines that we often see in TVT.
Yeah, that's the big thing I'm looking forward to. That is some kind of big deviation between the build arts. Because if both players are doing a similar thing, then it's going to kind of build out in the way you expect, where it's going to be a slow, methodical game of cutting up the
Hmm.
map. But if, like one player goes for a fast expansion, the other doesn't, or one goes for dropships and the other doesn't, that adds a deviation where there's going to be a point where one player has to make some kind of move, and it adds like a tension point.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll see how this game turns out. It looks like they're both taking their gas around the same timing, so there's no deviations yet, as they're both going for, I would say, a factory before expand build. But we'll see. Again, it's do they keep those guys on gas or do they take them off after they reach 100? That's the big thing they're scouting for. It looks like they're gonna pass each other right here, so they're gonna scout each other first. So they'll be checking those gas timings.
Is there a particular build that you think on this map is better for TBT? That like the kind of the standard to fit what the map layout work?
So what I like to play is, yeah, one factory expand into like three factory speed vultures. I think that's pretty strong because this is a pretty big map, and if you can get vultures out there and then add in mines, that's a great way to set up your first kind of contain and get map vision in case there is, a drop coming out or any kind of additional plays from your opponent that you need to worry about.
Well, it does seem like we already got the deviation. Sig Saucy kept all his guys in gas, and the blind went down to one. So I think we're gonna get maybe a starport versus an expand.
Yeah, I think you're right. This could be a starport. It could also be a two factory build, but he would be adding the second factory already. So I think you're right that we'll see a starport build. And yeah, he's actually getting harassed that this factory is not finishing right away, so that's slowing him down a little bit. this
Yeah, he's got a
start.
lot of gas built up. I remember seeing that he actually started the factory at like 150 gas. Wasn't quite on time exactly.
Mhm. Wow, so he's taking his expansion here and he's just mining all that gas. So gas is very important in TVT. So you can build those, tanks, wraiths, dropships, even Goliaths, which Terran need in this matchup. But this much so early, it does show like, what kind of play does he have in mind with this much gas? How's he going to
Yeah,
utilize it?
I'm genuinely surprised that sigsaucy was actually the first one to start the command center. Maybe he was trying to do some kind of cute play, but since the scout wasn't there for so long, he couldn't feel like he couldn't reveal his hand.
Yeah, you might be right about that. So now he's canceled that command center because he sees this first vulture and he's actually pulling workers. He's building the command center now on the high ground, and he's got his one marine trying to protect this ramp because he did get the add-on first and he went straight for a tank. He has nothing really to contest this vulture for the time being, and the Blime is building his expansion now at his own natural. So it looks like his expansion is right on time with six Aussies, but at least it's on the natural already, so it will be slightly ahead of time.
Yeah, but you can see it's a little bit of a supply leak for Neblime. Maybe he has a couple more SCVs in the bank because he wasn't being indecisive about what he was doing.
Yeah, both of these guys are powering
What
pretty
about
hard.
these upgrades that the players are going for? We see Sig Saucy getting siege tank and siege mode really quickly, while the Blime's going into his spider mines and getting an armory really fast.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to move out with his first tank. He might even be trying to set up maybe a bunker and contain here because he's lifted his racks to that correct position. But he might just die here because there is more units for Neblime that he's killed that marine already and now he's pushing him back. There's a second tank on the way for Six Aussie, so but he's retreating both of them, so he's not really going to set up that expand or that contain that it seems like he wanted to with that early siege mode.
Yeah, I think the way it's panned out, he had to retreat there because otherwise the vultures run by and you have nothing at home to defend it.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And now we're seeing some mines set up outside the natural of Sigsaucy by Neblime, so he is getting a little bit of map vision now, and he's even setting some up in the position to scout about drops in case there is a starport play. But it looks like Sigsaucy is going for a second factory and an armory, and the same is can be
Oh,
said
there's that
for.
starport right now.
Oh, is he dropping the starport? Oh, so there's a starport. And the Blime is going for the same except no starport, and he's got an academy right now, so he might be going for those comsats to try to
The
scout
the
out.
Blime's vulture speed's about to finish up, and he's already starting on the +1 weapon, so he's gonna win that race to that critical +2 for the tank.
Yeah, as long as he adds on that starport relatively soon, he should be able to go for that +2 like you mentioned.
Is that what you need to get +2? I thought it was a science facility, or do you need the
Well,
starport to
you need
get
the
the science
starport to get the
facility?
science facility. Yeah, so usually around this timing, when it's like a third of the way done, is if you build your starport now, then you can get the science facility and go straight to +2. That is pretty quick though, it's a high investment, but that's how you get it as fast as you can.
I mean, you can even see how it's kind of panning out with the supplies and everything. I think Six Aussie, just in general, is just a little bit on the back foot, and it's starting to snowball because it was a couple supply, now it's about 10. I think he's gonna have to think of something to get back in the game. But the Lime scouting all over this map is so good.
Yeah, maybe this starport can make something happen, but like you said, Neblime has a lot of units in between their bases that can just scout any kind of starport play. So he's gonna have to go the long way with this dropship if he's not seen, which would take some foresight to know to do that. So we'll see what happens here. And a third base is going down for Neblime, so he's gonna try to increase his lead here. It looks like he does have, like you mentioned, some kind of advantage, which is somewhat snowballing in the supply.
Six Aussie might walk into these mines with the tanks.
Ooh, yeah, he does, and he takes one mine hit, and now already Neblime has set up a small contain with two tanks, and Sigsaucy is forced to siege up on his own bridge.
Sigsaucy starting a third CC at the bridge. That seems like a weird spot. It's a long way to float, but it's also exposed to tank harass if necessary. Why would you do something like this? Just for the extra wall size, or is this just kind of maybe a misposition?
Yeah, so this would make me think he's expanding to that top 12 o'clock base, um, because he must anticipate Neblime having some defenses for that 3 o'clock base. But yeah, I think the 3 o'clock would be the better expand position here. So we'll
Oh,
see what.
Sigsaucy with a drop down at the main. He's
Oh
got
yeah,
C
he's
tanks on the
dropped
high
some
ground.
tanks over there. And the SCVs have been pulled to deal with it, and now he's lifting off again.
Gotta be careful. There's that one siege tank by the natural ready to defend this.
Oh, and he's going to drop
Having all that
right on
vision
it.
over
That
the
was a
3
good
o'clock.
move. He's taken out that siege tank.
Yeah,
Look at this micro with the dropship. That's pretty impressive.
little edges like that can help lower this gap a little bit. I like it. Or even maybe trying to get Neblime to realize, oh, I gotta get some units back. Is lowering the defense of that contain, so maybe he can break out.
Hmm. And we'll see if he does try to break out of that container. There's only a few tanks right now. It looks like he actually has the tank advantage in that position, but more tanks are moving up for Neblime right now to reinforce it. So he does have a timing right now, but once these 3 tanks reach this position, it's going to be really hard to move out with this many tanks here.
Yeah. You see Neblime also moving towards a wraith just to shut down the dropship play, realizing that might be a weakness to help Six Off get back in the game.
Yeah, I think this is a great play because that Wraith can kill this engineering bay and also, yeah, get vision. Or is this an orange engineering bay? No, it's a white one. So yeah, it'll help him get vision of sigsaucy's units as he tries to push out, which vision is very important in this matchup for your siege tanks. But they both do have those comsat scanners, and it looks like sigsaucy has 2 dropships now moving out to that 12 o'clock base trying to
Yeah,
expand there.
Neblime being super rude, laying mines right at the expansion for the 12. So this CC floating, doing nothing.
Yeah, Neblime has done a great job with his mines, just controlling the map and giving himself vision. It's really painful for sigsaucy right now.
Yeah. So I see Six Aussie getting a second star for it. What kind of build would you use two this early?
Yeah, I think he's realizing he needs a lot of dropships out as quickly as possible. But oh man, he's got 3 Goliaths now at getting to attack his 12 o'clock command center. So he's forced to
Yep.
retreat that. Hopefully he can keep it alive here. We'll see.
I mean, both players have already upgraded their Goliath range. I saw that earlier in the tabs.
So the 3 dropships are moving out, but that Wraith you mentioned is hitting them, and there is some missile turrets. Oh, and Goliath waiting for them.
Ooh, no, this is
So
gonna
a
be
number
big
of dropships have gone
on the
down here,
spot.
and there's the
GG.
GG.
I do like that Six Aussie kept trying to make a play happen, realizing he had to get something done. But after that one just went south, he realized that you got the third up. I couldn't establish mine. No sense in drawing it out. That matchup seems so hard. Out of all the mirrors, that seems by far the hardest of the three.
Yeah, I would agree that there is a lot of variation in there that we saw from these players, and definitely getting contained like that for sigsaucy is a tough experience to try to take your third. So are you ready to go into game 3 here?
I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay, let's start it up. So this game is another one of Neblime's games against Yenta.
This was a four player group, correct?
Um, yeah, I believe so. I think you're correct. Or we
Okay.
have games
Well, we
from 4
got
players.
yeah, we got Neblime in the bottom left with the yellow turn, trying to see if we can get that clean sweep. We got Yenta being our Zerg in the bottom right. He's wearing brown and looks awesome. I love brown on Zerg. It's the best color.
I think we have AFK guys, so these players are already talking to each other in group.
Well, so maybe it was a 5 person group and no one ever just found.
Yeah, you might be correct. Husal is missing.
That's okay. We're getting a little bit of insight to how maybe the dynamic was going.
Yeah, there's always going to be some inactive. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's part of it. I think we had like what 177 signups
Wow,
this
yeah,
season, which means
that's a lot.
we were growing from last year by pretty significant. I
Well,
gotta say, people say they're tired of this map. They're tired of this fighting spirit, like a decade of greatness. But this matchup on fighting spirit, this is StarCraft to me by far. Like this is what I've grown up watching, and I love every time.
the TVZ?
The TVZ on fighting spirit,
Okay.
100%. Too many high profile matches and OSLs and MSLs in this matchup. It's just both races have plenty of place to do macro or do some kind of aggressive build.
Mm.
Preserve mutas and lurkers, both very viable. Like this is just it's perfect. It doesn't seem like either player is particularly doing anything weird. We got the 12 hatch from the Zerg. We got the early racks, not a 12 14 CC or anything.
Yeah, this looks like a pretty standard opener. Um, wow, so it looks like the Terran is going to be able to scout the Zerg, or is he going? Yeah, so he's going to scout the Zerg on his first try here, which I don't know if this is the normal way to scout as Terran, but it's going to work out for him this time, and he's going to see that the 12 ne the I mean 12 hatch has been started here.
Yeah, I'm surprised Yenta scouted to the bottom left, even though he already had the Overlord going that direction.
Yeah, I agree. This has been a little weird scouting for them, from my experience on this map. Um,
Yeah, I'm used to that first Overlord going towards the left, not the second one, so that way you can send the drone the other direction. It kind of just lowers general scout times and overall.
exactly, yeah. So maybe there's some mind games going on. I'm not sure why that happened. And here's the fast expansion for that Terran, and he does kill the drone, the initial scouting drone, while keeping his scout alive, hopefully too.
But the drone does see the CC, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
important thing.
True.
So, what kind of thing could a Zerg do in this position after seeing such a fast expansion? You assume there's no gas to follow it up. Like, what's the good play from Zerg to punish this? Seems like maybe a two hatchery muta play would be good.
Yeah, he's already placed his third hatchery. Um, I think a favorite is just that mass speedling. Sometimes I'll do. If you don't have a bunker, you just almost instantly die. So we'll see how he decides to follow this up. He might go for that early muta play, like you suggested. But
I'm definitely
let's see.
expecting maybe less of something like a Ling or some crazy all in. With the tier players we're watching, I'm expecting more standard play across the board. And we see we are going to lair, so highly doubtful it's going to be a three hatch Ling or something.
Yes, it does look like he's going either for mutas here or it's maybe past his timing to get lurkers anyway.
He might just be hiding it until he kills the SCB.
Yeah, that's a good point. So it looks like Neblime has seen that really no early Zerglings are out, just two, and is trying to push across with four Marines. So he
But
has,
he turned around the moment he saw the sunken with
yeah,
the
so
SCV
he has
in the
forced
base.
that sunken out there.
I think it's just a good decision making from both players, being very respectful of what the other race is capable.
Yeah. So they are playing very standard, like you mentioned. There's none of that early aggression that I was calling for with the masked lings.
Yeah, I mean, so we got the one racks, we got an eBay researching weapons, Academy's on the way. Feels like it's going to be a big two base, lots of racks kind of push.
Yeah, it looks like that +1 attack has already been started. So yeah, we might see 5 racks or 4 racks even for an early push. Right as mutas get out, or to try to punish those mutas.
I mean, has the Blime seen that that the Zerg has won Spire Tech yet?
No, I do not think he has. His scanners are going to be late with this build, so his academy is just now finishing. So I don't think he knows it's mutas, but
But maybe just a safe estimate, judging that he didn't see a Hydra then with that
yeah, he
SCV.
saw that lair tech and he didn't see a Hydra den, so he must just be estimating, okay, I'm going to get this as many racks as I can and this +1 upgrade, and it's a pretty good move here against Zerg. And he's scouting to see if there's a third base being taken already, but he's going to lose his Marine up there in the top right. And he's
Yeah,
got,
I love this what Neblime did. He got the Marine up in the top right, and he's got one at the 6 o'clock at the bottom, the two likely third base locations.
yeah, but now he's moved his SCV, and we are seeing a bunch of speedlings come out on the map. And that SCV was supposed to, I think, scout for some kind of speedling all in, which I do like the scouting and map vision the Blime has showed throughout these games, but not seeing this group of speedlings could cause some problems for him. Let's see.
I do like Neblime's position though. That's some pretty decent Sim City. He's got four in the bunker with enough to back it up. I think he's going to be okay to hold this group of speed links because it's only 18. It's not
Yes,
anything crazy like multiple control groups.
I agree. I don't think this is enough speedlings to go ahead and end the game, so that's why he's getting these mutas out, but he might just try to trap this first group of M&M that come out, which can cause a lot of problems for the 5-Racks player if they just lose that first group of M&M kind of not in a good trade. So we'll see.
Yeah, he is only moving out with it looks like the seven mute at first. Didn't wait for that full group of nine, and they're not quite together, so might be delaying this back a bit. And the Blime already has turrets in that natural, a ton of turrets in that natural, realizing that's an opportunity for damage.
Yeah, you're right about that. This is definitely a lot of turrets. So he's prepared for these mutas, and he's building some in his main, but yeah, definitely focused on that natural, knowing that's the nearest position to these mutalisks. And he's going in to pick off a few SCVs here. Oh
Yeah,
wow.
I think Neblime will be in a much better position because he's already got the couple fire bats. He's got the Marine range on the way. I'm expecting a very strong push shortly, and I don't think Yenta did enough to really stop it.
Yeah, Yenta's taking this 12 o'clock base, and he's going for lurkers. But like you mentioned, there's a lot of Marines, medics, and even some fire bats in here to deal with these 18
It's
lings we saw built earlier.
Yeah, I think he's hoping to get a good flank if the Terran keeps pushing across the map, being very patient to not reveal those links.
Yeah, and here they come now moving south. They're going to try to flank in, like you mentioned. And, oh, he ran right through that group. He's taken out those fire bats early. And he has destroyed this first group of Marines, medics, and fire bats that moved out. So that was exactly what he wanted to do there from the Zerg's position. Now, hopefully, he can take that 12 o'clock base and get it defended with some lurkers. And that will be a big advantage for him here moving into the mid game.
Yeah, I think just in general, this 12 o'clock, even though it seems a little cheesy of a weird location, that's brilliant because who's going to scout that one? You're scouting the natural in the main corners because that establishes two bases. That's probably going to go unscouted for a very long.
Yeah, this SCV for Neblime is kind of scouting in vain right now. At least he knows no third is over there, but now he's even scanning the other main location, and he still is in the dark about this 12 o'clock expansion.
Yeah, and I like this kind of stuff, especially for any of the lower level players that you can play standard style builds, but adding that little twist like the location of this third base that can change the game entirely. So it's not all by the book exactly the same every
Hmm.
time. You can still add your own personal flavor to.
I agree. And like you said earlier, we've seen so many ZVTs on this map that those are pretty much the agreed upon bases to take. So this is a nice little variation from the Zerg player. And he's got another big group of lings out in the middle of the map, and so we'll see if he can take another good trade and whittle down this M&M army.
Yeah, he was taking those mutas, trying to harass the natural, but with all those turrets, they are very bruised. So I don't think he's gonna have quite the punch he did that first time he collapsed on the group that was moving out.
Yeah, and it looks like Neblime now knows about this ling flank and is moving up to the top of the map. We'll see if he goes all the way to this 12 o'clock base and is able to take it out.
Yeah. I mean, if he's only even just getting rid of these units and things, I think that's good. Just buying time for the Zerg to get ready for.
Oh, and here come the lings, but it looks like a group was a little bit farther off to the right, but he does manage to take out this M&M group again, it looks like. So this is very painful for the Terran to lose repeatedly these groups of Marines and not get a
And you
big
see,
army
the
built up.
Terran is making that third CC though, getting ready to go towards that 9 o'clock base, and he did scan and see Yenta's third base at the 12.
Hmm.
So no longer playing with that hidden knowledge, but
And
still, I think
mhm,
Yenta's in a good spot. He's doing a very good job controlling the map.
agreed. The Terran does have 1/1 upgrades, which are a good advantage at this point, but lurkers are out there now, and it looks like there is no tanks in sight. The Terran has built a number of racks though, and he has a starport, so he should
He's
be
also
ready
got
for
the
this.
vessel production started with a
Hmm.
radio on the way. So all you gotta do is be a little bit patient, and wait for the vessel.
Yeah, this is a sizable amount of lurkers, but yeah, if you see that patience and if he's able to defend his third, he could be in a good position for the later game against Hive Tech. But it doesn't look like we see Hive Tech yet on the way for the Zerg.
Yeah, it. The one thing I've been constantly seeing, he's still, even though the 12's taken as the third, he's still aggressively scouting that top right corner. He still has a Marine at that 6 o'clock position. And since he's starting to take his third now, Terran being three base versus three base, all you gotta do is hang on. He's gonna grow out of.
Ooh! And so he's just lost, it looks like a group of Marines to those lurkers at the front of the base. And so now the lurkers are just going to counterattack in against these bunkers, which might be a little bit too far, but I think this is still a good trade for the Zerg after he took out that group of Marines.
I think unit wise it might be a good trade, but you already see Terran's working towards the next set of upgrades for the Marines, but
Mm-hmm.
the Zerg hasn't even started Hive yet.
Yeah,
So I think tech wise, the Zerg might be trying to force it a little bit too hard right here, or hoping he does critical damage to move him into the late game.
I agree. The Zerg does have that +1 carapace armor upgrade, but uh, definitely if he could shut down this third expansion that the Terran is taking, that would have been more wise than trying to finish the game just then, like you mentioned, or force the game to end.
And once that bunker gets completed by that third base, that's going to be very difficult to break.
Yeah, these bunkers here at the front were very helpful for Neblime in holding that. I don't think he would have been able to hold that without them. And now he is loading up a dropship, so we'll see where this ends up. It looks like Yenta has really not saturated that 12 o'clock base, and he's even producing lings there. So he is going in here for
A
another big
big
bust
lurker group.
with a big lurker group, like you mentioned. Oh, wow. So that's a big hit. He's killing a lot of Marines.
Detection doesn't matter if everything
Yes, if
explodes.
there's so many lurkers. So it looks like he may not even need that hive tech and just end the game here with all of his lurkers. And this is unfortunate for Neblime, but he really had no tanks out. His bunkers did a good job of holding that first attack, but it looks like he's just getting overwhelmed by these lings and lurkers.
I would just love to see Yenta send a couple links to that 9 o'clock. He knows it's there. Although, yeah,
He's
Neblime
right
did
here on
send a
the
drop to
racks
the
with
top,
his lurkers,
killing
so
that third. He
he's
has
just.
to. I think Yenta has to kill right now.
Hmm.
Or get a major critical damage.
Yeah, well, these lurkers in with the ramps are just gonna, I mean, with the racks are just gonna kill everything that gets built here. So I think he's in a very good position, this Zerg is. Yep, there's the GG from the blind.
Oof. Zerg doubling down, committing to the attack,
Yeah, that was some
showing
nice
that
Zerg play.
sometimes just being stubborn is all you.
Yeah, that stubbornness.
I like that though, showing that he's not just by the book, like, oh, in
Yeah,
this spot, take a fourth, I go to Defiler. Like, no, I'm just gonna make 10 lurkers. Screw it, let's do it. I don't
yeah,
care that you have.
yeah. It was a little bit out of the normal meta of taking that fourth and getting up to Defilers and Hive. But it seemed to be effective there against the Marine mass, and he did take those two very good fights, killing the Marine medics, which gave him that opening.
Yeah, I think the big thing in that game was Neblime being holed up because he was trying to take the third, being a little defensive. Maybe if he was trying to posture into the middle of the map, seize the lurkers and slow them down because they kind of just walked across the thing and just parked right in front of them.
Hmm. All right, so I believe this is now the fourth game.
Yep, when you're through Neblime's games, we got a couple more to go.
Okay, are
I
you
guess
ready?
they were saying like there was a fifth
Mhm.
person that just isn't around. I am ready though.
You're ready? Okay, let's start it up then.
Okay, in the top right, we got Dragoon in the yellow Protoss. And then we got in the top left, sigsaucy in the purple Terran.
Okay, so another PVT for Dragoon. So we'll see if he tries that Reaver opening again. And we haven't really seen sigsaucy play TVP.
Yeah. I'm curious. I mean, this map just encourages standard kind of builds. It's too easy to macro, especially Terran. You're able to get that three base up, and they all have gas so easily, so quickly. Like,
Hmm.
it's hard to imagine that you're gonna do anything too crazy if you're not gonna immediately open with like a two factory play.
Hmm.
I did like Dragoon's build the last time we saw him. It's just he went for that fast Reaver, got the shuttle, but then got an observer instead of the Reaver. So it's like you're going into this tech path, but then not making use of
Hmm.
it. It felt very weird and disjointed.
Yeah,
But he
I
again
agree.
doing that scout after the pylon, little bit fast, just making sure he can get to the Terran's base. Like,
Hmm. And it looks like he's going to scout the Terran first, so we may see some probe harassment, possibly building a pylon like he did in the last game. So this is a little bit frustrating for the Terran getting scouted first like this, but we'll see how sigsaucy
yeah.
reacts.
So one thing I love in this kind of situation, if you get that really early scout, just you go zealot before your Cybernex core. You get that harassment when it's only one or two Marines to defend it, and it gives a big opportunity for your opponent to mess up and really get in a troublesome spot.
Hmm.
Although Six Aussie did build the barracks and the supply depot in the position where you can micro through. Can you explain how that works a little bit?
Yeah, so he can fit a Marine through this kind of wall with the supply depot and racks, and it won't be able to get a Zealot through that area. So he'll be able to move back and forth to dodge this first Zealot if that's what Dragoon chooses to do. But right now, he's able to just harass this initial SCV building the racks. He's got it down to 10 HP, 5 HP. He may even kill it here. Let's see. Yep, he's killed it. And so now he's bringing that probe back to his base, it looks like, with one kill, but he hasn't really seen about the gas timing right now. Oh, so he's coming back in to.
No, he saw the gas is already in there. He just didn't see what they were gonna pull off
Yeah,
afterward. And I
yeah,
definitely think he
exactly.
could keep the probe around.
So now he has kept that probe around. Let's see if it's walled off from. Nope, it's not. So it's going to see there's only one guy mining gas right now. So he should be able to predict some kind of fast expand build from the Terran.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that he didn't make that first zealot just to get some pressure on, maybe kill an SCV or two. It's definitely worth doing, I think, in this kind of situation where you got the short walking distance and you got that first scout, and like there's no wall. He isn't gonna have Marines at the top of the ramp. I could just waltz in with a zealot, which those things are monsters in the early game.
Especially in the early game against those initial Marines, like you mentioned. It is a problem for the Terran to have to deal with, but it looks like he's going straight for Dragoon, and he's getting that range upgrade. So we may see a similar build to that first game as he has left his guys on gas, so he might try for an early robo as well.
Yeah, and it looks like Terrence just doing. He pulled the guys out of gas, getting that factory. Looks like another just one factory expand, super standard.
Oh.
One very minor thing from Six Aussie, like he scouted down to the bottom left and went all the way around to
Uh-huh.
the bottom right. But with how fast Pros got to his base, it might have been worth it if you didn't see the bottom left, just cutting across the map for the top right, because it's either going to spot a cheese, which was why the scout arrived so early, or at the very least, they have to be the close position because they wouldn't scout two bases. They have to leave on like seven to do it.
And here we see he's actually put down a second factory. So even though he took those guys off gas, he's put down a second factory and he's getting mines upgrade.
Yeah.
So we'll
So
see.
he put guys back into gas. Maybe he scouted something that signaled, "Oh, I can punish this with a two factory."
Hmm.
Is there anything you could think of that you'd see to be like, "Oh, I need to deviate here. This is what I want to see."
Well, there is that robo going down off one base, and he's building a shuttle and a robotics support bay. I'm not sure what he would have scouted to see that. Look, he's building
He
an
did
engineering
not.
bay
Yeah, he
now.
didn't see any of that. Is he maybe just looking for not a nexus?
Yeah, I'm not sure why not a Nexus would signal him to go for a two factory because I don't think it not expanding Protoss will get punished by a two factory. I think two factory punishes fast expand. So I'm not sure why he elected to do this build. And I think even an early Reaver should be able to hold off this build as long as the Reaver gets out in time. It should be able to micro down these Terran
It
units.
this time he got the shuttle and the Reaver. He did get the Observer Bay too, so he's gonna get observers afterwards.
Hmm.
But he did do it in the order to take advantage of the tech choice.
Yeah, and he has still not taken his expansion. Meanwhile, we see the Terran who's taking his expansion after 2 factories. So this is an interesting build from sigsaucy here, but he is getting a missile turret up. Maybe he's worried about fast DTs or something like that, which is why he's
I
building his
just
missile turret at the front.
This just feels so weird because Six has got these two factories. Neither of them are producing and haven't been for a while.
Yeah, I agree. Now he's going for his academy. He's getting a missile turret in his main, so he must be worried about some kind of Protoss cheese or early aggression, which it looks like that's exactly what's happening. But yeah, I'm not sure why he needed to go up to 2 factories in this situation.
This is like super ultra. I've been cheesed too many times. Safe. I'm very curious what he
Hmm.
was expecting here. Maybe Dragoon has a reputation we don't know about.
Yes, exactly. Or maybe just Protoss in general has a reputation. I think that's more likely.
I just feel like though, even if there was some kind of reputation, you think you poke out with a vulture, see what's going on. You can count from the dragoon number if it's like fast DTs because you can't make a lot of dragoons. You can see if there's the nexus up. You can get some kind of idea, but just Six Saucy being ultra cautious,
And
which
yeah,
it might just be one of those things where he's like, if I don't lose early, I'm definitely gonna win. If he knows, if
yeah.
he's playing against the opponent, just knows the skill level difference. I'm not
Hmm.
sure.
And it looks like he
But
really
we
is
see
worried
this
about
shuttle moving
DTs.
in.
And this
See if it's gonna
shuttle,
get anything done.
yeah, is going in the perfect angle here. It's not going to get shot by a missile turret. And he's trying to catch if any SCVs are transferring. But it
Yeah, I
looks
think
like,
he just arrived. Maybe he thought the expansion was
mm,
already going to be up and running. So, but getting
yeah,
that missile turret and forcing, wow, even forcing the CC to lift, I'm a little surprised at that actually.
yeah.
Because you see the Terran not researching siege to defend this expansion.
Oh, there is siege.
I
So
just think the Terran's
he has
built.
a tank that can
Oh,
siege. So that's good to
yeah.
defend
So
against this Reaver. But
exactly.
he has placed some additional turrets. Oh wow, what a big
Oh,
hit from that Reaver.
oh.
So it's already got 7 kills here.
Well, he also killed all the anti-air that can move, so now he
Hmm.
can get in those spots where the missile turrets can't do anything and just wreak
Yeah,
havoc.
and that tank has just 2 HP. Oh, don't lose this shuttle though. Uh-oh. Yeah, there goes the tank.
Ooh. And we see Dragoon again, one with that speed shuttle tech.
So both these players are microing a lot, and they're getting quite a bit of
Ooh,
resources now.
lost the shuttle.
But yeah, that shuttle, and now this looks like a dead scarab. Yeah, it does nothing. But Sigsaucy has his expansion up and mining, whereas Dragoon does not have any probes at that expansion right now.
He's transferring some now, just in the heat of the action, just losing a little bit of it. But
Yeah.
I think with a build like this, getting that early Reaver, trying to do so much damage, it is important to just make sure that you're getting the micro done. It's a little more important than the macro, I think, in that kind of situation.
Yeah, he definitely was able to make things happen with that first Reaver and take out a number of Terran units. And now, yeah, they both are macroing a lot better, throwing down some extra gateways and factories. And it looks like Dragoon is even posturing to take his third base. And we see some vultures going out to try to
It's
harass it.
Yeah, I love this kind of play when you take your third, start by getting that piling up so you can wall it off from the vulture run by, and then you don't have to worry so much about it. Generally surprised though, spider mines are finished, but he's not really laying them on the map at the wide bridge by the natural to slow down a push or scout any movement. He's being a little bit weird with his mine placement to me, unless it's just really making sure that there's not a lot of expanding going on.
Yeah, he's trying to shut down these expansions with his mines or at least scout them out. But I agree, he could even put some in between his base and the Protoss base just to kind of slow down or keep a tabs on any kind of Protoss aggression because it looks like Protoss has been very aggressive in this game and is getting speed zealots and up to looks like 7 gateways. So that's a large number of gateways this early in the game. So we might see some kind of aggression from the Protoss, but it looks like the Terran has matched him with 5 factories and is getting that +1 attack upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, Protoss being on 7 gates on 3 bases, this isn't like signaling any kind of severe all in. I'm actually more intrigued by sigsaucy. He's got the 5 factories, 2 add-ons, researching his +1 upgrade. Looks like he's gearing up for a nice strong mid-game push.
Yeah, I agree. The Protoss might even just have reactively added those gateways. It seems like he is
I mean,
adding
you
on
want
a
to add
lot of
on to that
zealots at
kind
this
of
timing.
gateways when you're on
Hmm.
3 base, just to make sure you keep production up. But it's not like
Yeah,
if you were on like 7 or 8 gateways on 2 base, that's signaling more of a big timing push. But this
yeah,
is just something your economy can keep up with it.
I agree. I think he added those gates before he even, I guess, saturated his third. But yeah, like you said, this is not too many gateways or really showing any kind of uh, too much crazy aggression because you can even go up to 12 gateways on 3 base, and that's more aggressive from Protoss than this 7 gateway. And so we do see the Terran moving out here, but Protoss army is converging on him, and he's kind of pulling back a little bit now. But he has added on a lot of
Yes.
these speed vultures, and he's sieging up again at his natural.
Yeah, it is still just another situation. I wish there was spider mines outside the wide ramp, spider mines on the map, so you can spot the Protoss army movement, slow it down, force the observers. Although Protoss is moving towards his Arbiter technology, going to be really good on 3 base with this kind of map, especially since Terrence still hasn't taken that 3rd base. I think Stasis, with this kind of big fight coming up, if you Stasis a couple good tanks, it's going to be really strong.
Yeah, if he's able to get an Arbiter out while Terran is still on 2 bases and trying to do a push, he could even abuse the comsats and force a lot of scans out. Um, but we'll see if Terran's able to hit it timing before that Arbiter tech is out. And here he is going with some
I
vultures
think
to
Dragoon,
flank. Oh, and the Dragoons are being
he's
forced
just
back. And there's
donating a
some
group of
mines being laid
units.
down. So he's, look at, he's got a big group of vultures now, isolating this Dragoon army. And we're seeing nothing to kind of reinforce this. So it looks like all these Dragoons will just die. He's trying to stutter step and move them back. But he's going to lose this whole group of, let's say, 12 Dragoons out here.
Yeah, I just don't agree with that decision. Moving out with half your army when you have zealots at the 12 and see there's no 3rd base. Just be ready for the push. You know, Terran has to take a base soon, or you're just gonna be able to settle up, wait for your arbiter.
Yeah, I think he was trying to deny those vultures from doing too much mine laying, like you were mentioning, but it was unfortunate there that he maybe didn't predict this number of Terran units so early because he did take some pretty drastic losses there, which is really hurting him in this fight. And he does not have the Arbiters out yet, so
Yeah,
he's
it's gonna be a
lost.
while before you have any arbiters with energy to do anything productive. But at least he did add on all those extra gateways and can get some stuff done, get units on the board.
Hmm.
But yeah, losing that free control group of dragoons to just kill basically mines and signal, hey, this is a great time to attack me right now. Like
Hmm.
this definitely did not work out well for Dragoon.
And sigsaucy is taking advantage of this, and he's pushing across with his siege tanks, and he's sieging up right outside the natural, so he's in a pretty good position here. He's got a good tank line being set up. Hopefully he can avoid any kind of mine drags. He does lose a number of tanks there, so that's kind of slowed his push down somewhat. But it looks like he's in a good position still with his tanks outside the natural, the Protoss, and the Protoss just trying to reinforce to hold on to this expansion.
I mean, you still see from the Terran player no real attempt to get a 3rd base going. So even though this attack does look strong, it is doing damage. It does need to do critical damage, or it's still just not going to be enough. I
You're still on two
don't.
bases, aren't you? Just like you were mentioning. So Protoss may be staying in this game because he knows if he can hold this attack, he's ahead on bases. But it's going to be hard for him to hold this. I don't like this move from the Terran to separate his army to try to take out this third base because it looks like now his army is kind of spread too thin. But if he can
Yeah,
keep
he cleaned up
reinforcing,
the stuff at the 3 o'clock base, and I think, yeah, I think Pro is going to come out of this in a pretty decent position. All for a little bit, the Dragoon was down in supply and shot right back up with all his production and economy waiting to happen. Although he did lose a
mhm,
lot of mining at his natural. I don't see any probes there anymore.
yeah, he must have pulled them back into his main. And look at these zealots now doing work on these siege tanks. So this is unfortunate for the Terran player. And we do have an Arbiter now approaching halfway finished, so that could really slow down the Terran here. Who's
And you can see the Arbiter
yeah.
is going for that stasis first just to defend this push.
Mm.
Still, even though, like Dragoon was saying, you're still on 2 base, he has the Zealots up top, but there's not, like, I don't know if he's actually looking to see if it's happening.
Well, he's getting some harassment with these vultures, but I think he's lost too many of them to a point where he can be aggressive now for the time being. He's taking out some
And he
probes.
really has to be working to get that third base and move towards the mid game. Still not even starting one. Very
Yeah,
committed to, like, I need to kill this push, but I think the opportunity has passed.
yeah, I would have to agree with you on that one. It looks like it's going to be hard for him to continue pushing, but he is just macroing off those 6 factories. There's the command center being placed that you were calling for, so he's going to try to take an expansion. It looks like, yeah, he is almost mined out of his main, or he's beginning to mine out of the main.
You're saying command center was placed. Where was a command center placed?
Right next to his natural, kind of in a similar position to the TVT game we watched of
Oh,
him.
weird. That's such a weird spot.
Yeah, I think he's trying to expand again down. Maybe not take that normal third, but take the 3 o'clock base.
I
Or
guess
I mean,
so,
it's
but
it's even 9 o'clock now, right? Let me think about this.
yeah, but that's still, like, I don't see why you wouldn't want to take the normal one. There's only a couple of units, and he hasn't been up there in a while. He shouldn't have any real idea, like, what is there to defend. But getting that, like, pushing towards the Protoss, defending your base and pushing, encroaching into his position, that seems like the way you'd want to go.
hmm Well, let's see if he can trap this group of Dragoons again and get some kind of timing. This is only 3 Dragoons. Oh, and there's the reinforcing group, so he's not going to be able to trap those as
There's
easily as
still
last
another
time.
control group, just not in the fight up near that top part.
Yeah, he
Same
must
thing
be
that
trying to
happened last time
save
might
those
happen.
zealots. Yeah, you're right. It could be another trap here. Oh, and there come the zealots trying to flank in from the north. And this might just be too much Protoss units. And there's the Arbiter, 2 Arbiters actually coming out. So these scans, oh, there's a scan. And there's the stasis. Wow, pretty big stasis here in this small army fight. And
Yeah,
just
but if you
because,
if you were paying
Mhm.
attention just a little bit ago, Dragoon was up 40 supply, and now they're even. Another bad engage in the middle of the map. It just feels like Dragoon's not positioning in a way to actually take fights effectively. Maybe going too much on Zealous, where he's getting eaten up by the mines and vultures. Not enough Dragoons to actually add some muscle to the boat.
Yeah, definitely this engage, it looks like there was way too many zealots. Um, and so now he is, like you mentioned, behind on supply even. Um, and as soon as those units come out of stasis, there might be a timing to attack. But these arbiters may end up being some kind of force multiplier and helping him hold on here against this massive Terran units that we see. And even some vultures headed down to that fourth expansion for the Protoss and trying to harass it, which there is really no defenses there, just one zealot. And so Protoss has got to kind of split his forces now to try to hold on to this base. And sigsaucy is now taking that third base for himself, which, as long as he saturates that quickly, should definitely help out his economy here.
Yeah, I just think it was a little unfortunate. You got this 3 base arbiter play. You're getting towards all your arbiter things. If you start making the arbiters, research your recall, and just kind of get ready, you can just play a little more defensively, wait for recall to open the map up again. You don't have to be so aggressive trying to force these bad fights in the middle of the map. The other thing I'm noticing that Dragoon has a ton of gas in the Temple Archives finish, and I haven't seen a single High Templar.
Yeah, it may just be a stylistic thing why no High Templar, but definitely that's a lot of gas bank, and a recall would be very effective here, but he is trying to hold on to this push. It looks like he stasis to his own shuttle, unfortunately, but he did stasis a large amount of the Terran army, but it looks like not enough
Oh
as both
no.
of his arbiters have been taken out by the Goliaths, and now he is forced to call the GG.
Yeah, just I like Dragoon. He got in a good position, and I think he could have taken that game.
You just landed your third, yep. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. I agree, he was in a very good position. This was a very close game, definitely.
Yeah, just too many bad engagements where, especially not just bad engagements, but I think bad engagements where he didn't need to take the engagement, just forcing something that didn't need to happen, not realizing the position he was in.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Sigsaucy in chat saying dirty Protoss while he's dirty two base pushing the entire game.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. I don't mind it from sigsaucy. All right, you ready to go into this next game?
Ready when you are.
Okay, let's start it. So it looks like this is another one of sigsaucy against Yenta.
And so another TVZ. Yenta's style was very interesting in the last game. I wonder if he does the same kind of.
Yeah, let's see if he's able to get those good engagements in the middle of the map that he got in that last game.
And it looks like we got Yenta in the top right with the orange Zerg. We got Sigsaucy in the bottom left with the red Terran. I think that might eat into his positioning with the Lings a little bit, since now the natural path for a push goes through that middle of the map. He was hiding the little groups of Lings.
So you think this cross position favors Zerg? Is that what you were saying?
I was just thinking maybe because the way the last game worked with Neblime and Yenta, that he was
Mm-hmm.
pushing a lot of that bottom edge, so he got to hide stuff in the middle of the map. But now, since the natural push goes through the middle of the map, he has to have a different hiding spot if he wants to do the same style.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I definitely think this kind of position cross maps does favor Zerg for me, though, just because it's a little more secure to get your bases up and running, get up to that defile tech, maybe be a little
Oh,
greedier with your economy.
okay.
You disagree?
No, I definitely agree with you. I think Zerg is just more mobile, so having this distance should help them out in the long game. Like you said, getting your economy set up and defending your bases from any kind of Terran aggression. I was laughing about the comment where he's like, "Where you at?" or something like that. I thought he was asking him what position or something. Where did he spawn at?
I
Yeah,
always appreciate when people, especially preseason, I mean, but CPL in general, they're talking, they're a little more friendly. It's like we're not playing for money, we're not playing for
yeah,
anything particular, so enjoy it. Like this game is a game, it's meant to be fun. You don't have to
yeah,
be super serious. You're not qualifying for ASL or anything, you know.
exactly. And we're just trying to have some like, yeah, good games between friendly opponents. Nothing too serious. I don't know about you, but when I'm on ladder though, I try not to talk to anyone because that's just a whole different type of game, in my opinion.
I try to talk a little bit on ladder because usually the way they respond, if they respond the way they respond, you can get an idea what kind of opponent you're playing.
Oh, really? Okay. Scouting information. I like it.
And that might be a little bit of a lower player trick, but it's like if they're really friendly and talkative, and they're like, you're probably a little more casual because you're in such a good mood right now.
Yeah, you're not raging about something. Oh.
Looks like we got some pretty standard looking builds so far, though. We got the hatchery first, going into three hatch, early gas, just normal stuff. Realizing with the cross map position, just you got plenty. And it looks like sigsaucy is doing a very similar build so far to what we saw from Neblime, the last TVs that we watched. Just that one factory, skip the gas immediately for a little while, get that command center going. Both players committed that they don't need to win the game in the next 5 minutes. Let's move into the mid game.
So we'll see if Yenta again goes for those quick mutas, but he has got up to 3 hatchery. And like you said, here's the fast refinery, so it looks like we will see another of those +1, early +1 upgrade timings from the Terran.
So you think this might just be another one of those 5 racks pushes? Is that like the standard kind of thing to do on this kind of map with this much open space and such easy third base to take?
I would say it is, yeah. If you can get an early group of upgraded Marines and medics, you can do a lot of pressure onto the Zerg, especially if they don't have lurkers out yet. So we'll see if that's what he goes for. Yeah, he's
So
doing a little bit.
Sigsaucy is getting the early academy rather than Neblime got that early eBay to get the upgrade started sooner. So is this some kind of signal for a deviation?
Yeah, I think it is. I think you're totally right about that. We'll see what he plays here. What's this building? So there is the engineering bay. I don't know why he got this academy ahead of time. Maybe to get early scanners. But he still is just on that 1 rack. So we'll see how many he ends up going for.
Only thing I can think of is maybe it's a slightly delayed kind of push, or he wants to get some pressure on early with just stem. But maybe he wants to do a stem and a range with a +1, delay the whole thing. But since you need the
Whoa.
2 from the academy,
So he's got
he's
two
doing.
engineering bays now. And now just adding his second rack. So I don't think he's going to do an early push because it doesn't make sense to add 2 engineering bays.
Yeah, he just getting the 2 comp sets. Maybe just wants to be really sure what's going on. Not immediately. He's getting stim now. He's got the +1 on the way. Just the double engineer base throwing me for a loop. Not sure what the.
Yeah, he's moving out with his first group of Marines, but now he's pulling them back. And there is a scan going down, so I don't know exactly where he scanned, but I'm assuming he saw that spire and he knows that mutalisks are coming.
Yeah, I mean, you see Yenta starting to stave up his larva, getting ready for that burst of 9 mutas when the spire's done.
Ooh,
Very
and
standard kind of stuff.
here's a lot of speedlings getting out on the map, similar to the last game for Yenta, and he may just be able to catch some of these Marines out here in an
Oh,
exposed
catching those
position.
3 would be big.
Yeah. And the Marines are stimming to try to run back to base, but the Lings are right on their heels right now, so we'll see if they can get out of there. And he's filling up this bunker as quickly as he can. Let's see if the Zerg continues to attack in here. There's only a few Marines out on the map, but the Zerg is pulling back.
So the big thing I'm noticing right now from Sigsaucy, there's no turrets in production. Even though he has the E-base, he is thinking he's going to contest it by moving out with a force. But with these mutas nearing completion, this might be a problem.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. We're gonna need these turrets to get started very soon here. He does have those 3 racks. And I believe
And
this is a
like I was
turret.
thinking, maybe he's going to have the +1/+1. He's going to have both the academy upgrades up soon. He's starting turrets now, but unlike Neblime, who had a ton of turrets in natural, he is skimping a little bit, relying maybe more on his Marines to get the job done.
Yeah, this turret timing might be a little late. Let's see if he gets punished for it. He is going very minimal on turrets
Oh,
as
come
opposed
on,
to
punish
Neblime.
this tournament. Come on.
Ooh, there he's going in getting some SCVs. But the Marines are there in position to defend now. So he hasn't taken too many losses. Let's see
But
how
he
the
is up to that
micro is.
full 11 group of mutas, that perfect number for your micro group.
Yeah. And he's starting to continually pick off these SCVs.
And you see, he had to already ready with that perfect hiding spot in the middle of Fighting Spirit with the Lynx. Exactly like the last.
Watch out for Yenta, guys. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, judging how all this stuff goes, Yenta already has that drone in the top left ready to take that third.
Yeah, he has banked up a considerable amount of minerals, so there he is taking that top left base that you mentioned.
I
And
think I'm
he is moving
psychic or
into,
something, man.
yeah, you know. And now he is getting some lurkers even at his natural expansion. So he is moving into the more mid game for Zerg, and it looks like the Terran has lifted his factory and is going for a science facility, which should
So,
time up with this armor finishing for the Terran Marines and Medics.
so this double eBay big upgrades on the Marines and going for a science facility. Is this like an SK Terran kind of style, just big bio force with science vessels behind it?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right about calling this SK Terran. I have not seen this many eBays so early before, but definitely the double starport and mainly just relying on Marines. That's pretty much the standard SK Terran, so he's trying to
I
put a lot of
love
pressure
how
on
these
here.
lurkers got morphed in that top left. The one to block the ramp while the other two fence.
Yeah, that's perfect here, and it looks like there is no room for these Marines to get up there. So he kills. Oh, he doesn't. Yeah, he does kill that one lurker, but he knows he can't really get up
Yeah.
this ramp with those two lurkers behind. So he's kind of stalled now from moving up there and taking out that expansion.
All right, so I'm curious to see if Yento's going to try to catch this group in the top left and make sure they kill it off, get a big army lead, or if he is going to go into that hive. But it seems since he's getting that queen's nest, it looks like he will actually go into the hive tech, not force this extended mid game.
Yeah, and do you think we might see Guardians with these mutas that he's kind of stopped and put?
They are in the perfect position to do some guardian harass, and I would love to see that. It seems
Yes,
very intelligent.
I'd like to see that as well. Here's a big group of Zerglings moving around to try to flank this Marine group, which has stalled out in the top left. He is even bringing in some lurkers too to try to provide that DPS.
Yeah. While we're noticing that, we see Terran building up. He's getting the second starport for more science vessels. It does look like that full SK Terran kind of style. Oh, these lurkers doing so much damage to this bioforce. Sigsaucy just lost a very significant portion of the army.
Yeah, he is going for a drop with one of those starports, and it looks like he is adding in some science vessels. So hopefully he is ready for the hive tech that's coming now from the Zerg. And we'll see what he's able to do with this dropship. Hopefully he can avoid any kind of scourges or any of the scouting units that are out on the map for Yenta, because he does have pretty good map vision right now.
Yeah,
He's
I
using an
do not see any scourges on the map though. Do you?
yeah, I don't either. So it looks like this drop could be effective here. We'll see if he manages to take a fortunate route through this map.
A very odd thing I just saw in Yenta's main, right by his main mineral line, he did just more of two sunkens. I guess predicting and being protected against the drop just in the unusual way, not what I'm used to seeing.
Yeah, that is unusual, but it could work out perfectly for him. It looks like the drop is heading up to the north of the map or the top of the map.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to try and force some pressure into that top left where the Zerg has to spread his units out, and I don't think they're fully in position to do that. Although he is going up to that greater spire, so that
Yeah, there
Guardian
it
harass
is.
looking very realistic.
And let's see what he does here. He might just target down drones.
So we got Defiler mount on the way. I was hoping for some Nidus to help protect this base, but it doesn't seem like he wants to invest in that right.
Yeah, and he's even got two Sunkens and a Lurker in his main, so he's definitely ready for any kind of dropship play that the Terran might have, even without, like you said, any really scourges on the map.
Yeah, we see this giant Terran force moving out. Now, if he kept some science vessels at home, they'd be ready to irradiate the Guardians once they start harassing. But if this attack starts happening with the Guardians while the Terran's on the map, I think it's going to lead to some very interesting decision making, especially if there's no Nidus to help bolster that defense.
Yeah, him pulling back his Lurkers from that ramp, I don't know I guess he's trying to protect them from irradiate or something. But now this bio group, which is a pretty sizable bio group, is able to get into his
Oh,
third base.
look at this little wave of Scourge ready to get some of these Cecils down.
Oh yeah, there it is. So hopefully he can isolate the vessels. As they are, it looks like irradiating all of his lurkers, which is very
Oh,
bad
it
feeling.
looks like Yenta's just going, you can have the top left. I'm going to take your natural instead.
Wow, so again, a very aggressive play from Yenta, it looks like. Yeah, there are the Guardians just doing work at the mineral line right now.
Yeah,
Meanwhile,
we see
this...
the vessels moving over, though. In a radius. Hopefully Yenta realizes this before it gets too bad.
Yeah, Yenta needs those Scourge over there right now. Wow, so he's losing a good amount of Guardians here.
Yeah, a couple are living with barely any life, and he's doing the eraser on one of the science vessels to do extra damage.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
I
so this has
definitely
been
think
good.
sigsaucy got the better end of this trade,
Yeah, he
because I
dealt with
thought
that.
it looked like Yenta was going to move in with the links from the front too, but he never pulled the trigger.
Yeah, and he managed to protect a lot of his army, at least, from the Guardians, but he did lose a good amount of SCVs, I would say.
Yeah, so we got the Defiler Mound. Consume has already been researched and finished. I'm looking for the Defilers, though, and I don't see them in that main army clump.
Yeah, I'm just seeing a massive links here, so we'll see if he has enough. There's a lot of Marines and medics with two upgrades, so they should just chew these links up.
Yeah, very similar situation to what we've been seeing in some of these other games, just attacking with a partial amount of your force and basically donating units. I don't think that attack right there with that control group and a half was really getting anything done. Feels very unnecessary.
Oh wow, look at this micro in the top left. This medic and these Marines are just doing so much damage to those Zerglings trying to get up the ramp. That was really effective for the Terran.
Yeah, the one thing I'm noticing with that top left is if you can ever clean up the units that are still there, there is that one drone left over ready to make a hatchery and rebuild that base. There's still a couple lurkers there waiting.
Oh, and he's forced to cancel over here at his third expansion for Yenta. And here is sigsaucy. He's trying to take his own third, as it looks like he's beginning to mine out of his main base. And he's pushing into the natural of the Zerg, irradiating again a lot of lurkers. So it'd be nice to see some Scourge out here. There are some Scourge coming for these vessels who are somewhat isolated. Let's see if they're able to kill any of them. Because these
It's going to kill
vessels
a
have...
couple, but
Yep.
most of them are down on energy, so it doesn't really matter if a couple of them die.
Mhm. But anything you can do to limit that vessel cloud is really effective. And here's even some more Scourge moving out for the Zerg. So let's see if he's able to catch these vessels again isolated.
Yeah, I think Yenta's got to get that third base established again up at that top left. I still want to see some Nidus so he can move units around and be more effective with his defense. It's always a thing with this game. When you get too late in the game, a lot of things happen. It's easy to forget one small but very major thing like a Nidus Canal.
Yeah, let's see if he's able to set one up in that top left like you mentioned. That would definitely
He did
help him.
finally clean up the Bioforce there with the Lynx. The Bioforce moved into a corner and basically got themselves surrounded.
So it was good defense of the science vessels. And there's finally a Defiler out with the Dark Swarm. So, oh, and he just got irradiated.
Yeah. Yeah, so we finally got the Filers and a Darkstorm out, but this is also going to be a big thing that something can go wrong very quickly. You got the Terran; they're about to finish that +3 weapons for their infantry. They're going to mow through these Zerg.
Yeah, this Terran is in a very good spot here. It's good that he set up his third base, and he has pretty much complete control of the map, so he's able to go around and deny these expansions for the Zerg. Zerg is banking
So
a lot of minerals right now, so he maybe
uh,
should
I
just throw
want to
down some
pull a,
hatchets.
I want to pull a small aside. Did you watch maybe the pro scene like a year ago? Did you see any of the battle cruiser TVZ games from last? Did we see Six Aussie making a couple battle cruisers?
Oh, is he really?
That's the style. Yeah, he's making them. He's ready.
Wow, look at him. Yeah.
Do you know? Do you know what this is about, or is this something new to you?
No, I've seen some battle cruisers out in TVZ. Yep, there's the GG.
Yeah, that was a good game for sigsaucy. Very controlled,
Yeah,
not
well played
overextending and
TVZ
taking
right there.
good advantage from when Yenta was just donating units with some bad engages. That's the thing. That's the big theme of this group. Just a lot of people taking engagements they didn't need to, and then putting themselves in a worse position because they felt pressured.
Okay, so this is
I was,
actually
I
the.
was hyped to
Mhm.
watch some battle
I
cruises, though.
know
We were
one
so
was
close.
pretty close to finishing, I think.
Yeah, I do like that though. I like the whole thing with that it kills the scourge. It gives you some air to ground harass that's hard to deal with.
Yeah, it's just another APM tax on Zerg, which Zerg's already so APM taxed, I would say.
Absolutely.
And on those few bases for Zerg, it is a problem to deal with. So this is actually our last game. Are you ready to get into it?
It's our final Protoss game. Of course I'm ready.
Okay.
Get these dirty Terran out of here. I'm ready for some Protoss.
Protons, yeah. We'll see, man. I think this group has had a pretty good balance of two Terrans, one Protoss, one Zerg. So we see, oh, it looks like a PVZ here.
Yeah. So in the bottom left, we got Dragoon and the purple Protoss. In the top right, we got Yenta in the blue Zerg. Cross spawn again, which I think in this kind of situation, I don't want to be Protoss against cross spawn. Too easy for Zerg to get his bases up, a little harder to get your stuff done. Can't threaten quite the early push because he has so much more distance to cover.
Hmm.
Not a favor.
Okay, well, I don't have a lot of experience in this matchup, so I'm gonna have to take your word for it. But it definitely makes sense that the Zerg army is somewhat more mobile, so it would be easier for them to set up bases this far away from the Protoss.
I mean, it's
Ooh.
definitely the kind of thing that we can see from both sides of this match, not just the Zerg, like in TVZ, where
Hmm.
one person's skimping just a little too much on defense or a little too much on map control, and the game can get really out of hand quickly. Once
Hmm.
you either side loses a little too much of anything critical, it's hard to come back.
Okay, so let's see, yeah, who's able to walk that fine line and not lose any units or any critical units at the wrong time.
Yeah, the big thing I'm looking for right now is Dragoon going to start with a forge or a gateway, but it looks like a forge given the timing of things.
Yeah, let's see. Um, there's the forge, yeah.
Yeah, there's the forge. Big thing I noticed with that is that he scouted after the pylon because you gotta get that scout immediately, see when they get the pool and how many links they make.
Hmm.
Because the one of the big things that makes Forge a good advantage kind of build is knowing, can I get the Nexus right away? Do I have to build a cannon, two cannons? And you don't want to be overly safe. Like the advantage comes from cutting as much as possible in this early
Hmm.
opening before Forge expand.
So he does see that the pool's already finished and four lings are on the way. And now he's trying to do some harass, but it looks like two
Yeah.
drones are forcing him out. We'll see if he does a pylon block here. And he does block that hatchery with the pylon.
I don't particularly like that because I mean he already made the lanes.
Oh,
Now that
here's
he sees
six
the
lings
six, he
actually.
bet. I
Yeah.
hope he cancels.
We'll see. The lings might just ignore this pylon. It looks like they are, and there he does cancel it. So now he's gonna have to put, it looks like two cannons will need to be put down here. And
Yeah, definitely need two
hopefully they can
cans.
finish in
Although
time.
I am not in love with the placement there. Lanes could
Yeah.
definitely just run past that. You need to get a gateway. He looks like he's waiting to get that gateway to block it, but
Oh, he's
this
bringing out some probes to try to block these lings, so we'll see how good this probe block is. I agree, a gateway should go down here, and it looks like he will place it. He definitely has the minerals to do it.
and you see on the Zerg side just going straight to three bases, knowing that the opponent had the respect to get the extra cannons, no threat immediately to come back.
Hmm. And he sees still no gateway out there, so yeah, there's really no pressure the Protoss could even do at this point in the game.
I mean, you can rush behind the pylon.
Yes, that
Don't
would be
don't
great to
don't
see.
don't think Protoss can't get. I'm gonna call it creative.
Yeah.
Creative's the word I'm gonna choose to use
Okay.
with these cannons.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it, creative.
Everything looking super standard for the Protoss player so far. Next big deviation I'm looking for is if he gets a Stargate or not, which is a big tell. It lets you scout. It also lets you prepare for mutas, or it says I'm doing a big push with some Templar tech or Reaver tech. We do see the Zerg. He's going straight to Lair. He's not immediately getting a Hydra Den, not going for a 3-hatch Hydra kind of bust. Although I wouldn't have been surprised if he did, given that the gateway was so delayed. He should have been able to see that with Lynx.
So does this layer timing indicate more Mutalisks?
Not particularly. I would say it probably isn't going to be Mutas because he didn't take a second gas yet.
Okay.
So I'm thinking it's still going to be some kind of Hydra play, but more of a macro thing, not a three hatchery all in kind of style.
Wow, so there's the Spire right now. So maybe he's planning on taking that gas right away, or yeah, he is going to need a sizable amount of gas for those Mutalisks.
Yeah, you're supposed to take the second gas before the spire goes down. Otherwise, because with the 3 hatcheries, you need 900 to make the group of mutas, and it's not going to have that in time. So maybe just doing something on the map and forgot the second gas. I've had those kind of games plenty of times where you go, ah,
Definitely,
crap.
yes.
Well, we see from Dragoon, he is getting that Stargate. He's going into Citadel of Dune. This might be something that you've seen plenty of times with pro builds. It might be going to that Corsair DT style that players like Bisu use all the time.
Yeah, that would be definitely very entertaining to see. So we'll see if the Zerg is able to get enough Scourge out to deal with those Corsairs, and how how the Protoss decides to follow this up if he does go for a fast Templar archive here.
Right. So you still see that he is getting the hydrogen now. He's adding on some extra hatcheries. So this is the kind of normal thing where you can go, you get that spirally, but just for Scourge, just to stop Corsairs. It's not a muta play, but it's going to a big mid-game Hydra army.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could see that. It definitely looks like that's what we're gonna see happen here in this game. And he is adding in a number of hatcheries, so he's getting up to 5 hatch with the Hydralisk Den finishing.
Yeah, this is like some very. If you looked on the Liquipedia, this is the standard build. This is what you should be doing.
Well, that's good to see. Yeah. Sometimes it's nice to see awkward builds, but I'm glad they both seem to be playing very standard here.
Yeah, we got the Protoss sitting on 2 base comfortably, the way a lot of Protosses do. They don't feel bad being 2 base versus 3. You still have a good opportunity to get a tech advantage and get some things done. Going towards that Temple Archive, so I'm still thinking it is going to be that kind of Corsair DT. And he's still keeping up his Corsair production. Sometimes Protosses try to cut Corsairs because they think, oh, you're not going Muta. But you definitely need to do it because Zerg can build a bunch of Muta at once. You can't do that with Corsairs.
Ooh, let's see if this Scourge can catch a Corsair out of position here. Oh, and they're
It
chasing it.
shouldn't be caught before it gets to the cannon, as long as he
Yeah.
doesn't try to get crazy with his micro to stop.
Yeah, and those Corsair do get away, but he at least sees Scourge are out on the map. He wasn't able to do too much scouting with those Corsairs, though.
You see the Zerg player getting a lot of Hydras, stopping drone production, getting some armor upgrades, getting ready for that big Hydra push. Yeah. And I kind of agree with what Dragoon's doing here, not going for the DTs, realizing he doesn't have a good amount of map or air control at the moment. Just going straight into Templar attack with Storm, getting ready for that Hydra push, seeing that he didn't see any mutas, has an assumption that it's coming because it's either going to be that or a lot of bases, but he's been pretty active with the Corsairs to scout around, hasn't seen any more bases being taken.
Yeah, it looks like there's definitely a massive Hydras the Zerg is producing. And like you said, stopping drone production almost entirely, it looks like. Um, Now, where would do you think Zerg take his next base?
Well, so in the situation Zerg's in here, I think because he's so caught on drone production, he's not even thinking about the next base. He's going to think
Hmm.
about if he does some damage, but not enough to close out. He needs to get an advantage, then he'll expand afterwards.
Okay.
The big thing he's looking for is making sure Dragoon doesn't get on his third base
Hmm.
and making sure he has a good attention to his micro so he doesn't die the storm. That's the biggest thing that
Hmm.
Hydras need to watch out for. He's standing storm for a couple seconds, they all explode like confetti.
Okay, well, let's see if we get some nice storms out here this game. It looks like the Protoss is at least posturing towards taking his third base. Ooh, and he does lose one Corsair there to Scourge. And we see a group of Hydralisks moving out. They are met by some Zealots, and they're starting to engage each other.
I do like that he's moving out with the Hydras a little bit, but not the whole army. So might give a little misdirection, like, oh, I only got this many. I just want to poke out a little bit,
Hmm.
not showing this full 5-edge Hydra build.
Well, now he's
You
bringing
see,
out
they're
the whole
flooding in.
army.
They're
So,
flooding out.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
definitely shown a small amount first. Let's see. The Protoss might think he can fight this, but he definitely can't.
he
There's a
can with
storm.
Storm, but he's
Seems to miss
losing his
everything.
Templar.
His second storm does hit some Hydralisks, and now he's being forced back behind his cannons. So this is definitely a
I'm
dangerous
noticing
timing.
there's not more Templar
Yeah,
ready and waiting. That's the thing. You gotta have them on the field for a little bit to charge it up. They need to wait for 25 energy.
yeah, those Templar were too exposed there, and it looks like the good game is called here. So Yenta able to pull this one out with a nice Hydra timing.
Yeah, just not scouting the pure power of that actual push. It looks like Dragoon just got caught unaware, and it's just like that. One player skims too much defense, immediately gets in a really bad position.
All right, so that was our last game, I believe. Is there anything you want to say just to kind of wrap up this cast?
I had a fun time casting these games, and I think a lot of them were just a good thing to learn from. Of, hey, in this matchup, doing standard builds because it was a lot of standard stuff, but one mistake, not scouting something appropriately, trying to force a fight when you shouldn't, trying to be a little too greedy, just immediately can get you in a bad spot. So I think these are very good games to learn from for anyone trying to improve their matchups.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we saw some nice, we saw pretty much all the matchups. We saw one mirror of TBT, but I enjoyed casting these games with you as well. And yeah, I think there were some good games in here to learn from, definitely.
Absolutely, I like Yenta's style, especially has a little spin to doing things, just a little bit off, makes it a very fun and interesting.
Yeah, very aggressive Zerg, which can be very dangerous, as we saw here today.
Absolutely. Other than that, I had a good time casting tonight, and can't wait for them.
Okay, sounds good. Well, yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in, and I think that'll wrap up our cast here today.
Have a good night. Thanks for watching.